Make sure the sheet is laid square to the eaves line, allowing for the 5 cm overhang at the eaves. The sheet can then be fixed. Just select the appropriate Onduline fixing that matches your requirements. Form the verge detail by aligning a raised barge board and nailed to the verge at 15 cm centres. Alternatively, for a superior finish, use Onduline preformed verge pieces with a 20 cm end lap. Onduline produce a range of corrugation fillers as shown here, and ventilator strips for use at the eaves and ridge. However, high-level ventilation must be provided. The mono-ridge detail is formed by fixing a timber ridge board to the rear of the Onduline corrugations. This is overlaid with Onduline Verge pieces. On exposed sites, use Onduline Ridge pieces as these provide a greater cover width. Should your roof finish in a wall abutment, we produce a pre-formed flashing which is nailed into position. A separate cover flashing is dressed into the wall to complete the installation, allowing for movement between the wall and roof sections. To form a valley gutter, we first position trimming battens to the purlins either side of the valley, which will create a gutter depth of 7.5 centimetres. Next, we must line the gutter using pre-formed GRP units. These are positioned between the trimming battens and nailed in place. Alternatively, Onduline preformed valleys can be used. These should be laid on valley boards fixed between the trimming battens. This is then covered with the Onduclair membrane, and the Onduline Valley pieces can then be nailed into position with a 20 cm lap. The Onduline sheets are positioned and then marked to the line of the valley, allowing for a 4 cm sheet lap into the gutter. The sheets can then be removed and cut using a circular saw. At this point, let's cover cutting the sheets generally. The sheets are measured, marked out and cut as required, remembering to allow a 5 cm sheet overhang at the eaves. The sheets can be cut across the corrugation width by using either a lubricated coarse blade handsaw or preferably an electric circular saw. To cut the sheets up the length of the corrugation, score and fold the sheet to split it. To complete the valley, the sheets are fixed in position, allowing for a minimum 4 cm lap into the gutter. A range of Onduline roof ventilator units provide passive roof ventilation to complement your requirements. The integral flashing apron allows the units to be easily incorporated into your Onduline roof. Simply lap the Onduline corrugation onto the unit and fix to secure. The Onduline roof window provides both illumination and ventilation into your building. As with the ventilator units, fix by lapping the Onduline corrugations onto the preformed apron and secure in place. You can also provide roof illumination with Onduline roof lights, which are available in glass clear sheets and diffused opaque sheets, manufactured in both PVC and polycarbonate materials. As the sheets have the same corrugation profile, they are easy to fix. Always lap the Onduline corrugations onto the plastic roof light. Then, mark out the fixing points, which should be pre-drilled with a 5mm diameter drill bit to allow for movement against the fixing. The Onduline fixings can then be applied. Take care not to overfix to allow for movement in the sheet. Form the hip detail by positioning and fixing hip trimming battens or boards to accept the fixings from the Onduline Ridge pieces. An optional timber hip board fixed up the line of the sheet joint is also advisable. Then, as with the valley fixing, the sheets are positioned, marked out and cut to the line of the hip. The sheets can then be fixed into position. Onduline ridge pieces are then fixed at every other corrugation and at the ridge piece laps. Use a marker or chalk line to mark out the line of the hip and fix the ridge units using the integral guidelines to form the ridge end laps. The ridge ends are trimmed to the eaves line with a coarse bladed saw or snips. To form the hip ridge joint, first fix the ridge units up the line of the hips and trim into the ridge line. The ridge units are then overlaid and trimmed using a knife or snips to seal the lap joint. On exposed sites, Onduline sealant adhesive should be used. With these basic skills and equipment, you can create an attractive, durable roof.